The guests are waiting for you, Detective. I informed them of what has happened, but divulged no details.
I am most grateful. Madame Van den Bosch is here also?
She's in her room with Miss Angeline. It may be better to speak with them privately tomorrow.
Oui, merci. I shall come find you again once my questioning is complete. Ah. Huh. I'm afraid our conversation is of a more formal nature this time.
So the Major was murdered?
It appears so.
You can't think that I did it, though.
I will be questioning everyone over the course of the evening, and your cooperation will certainly speed up that process.
I was here in the salon, minding my own business, enjoying my own company.
Minding your business from whom?
Comtesse, what's her name, and my brother. Apart from wanting to congratulate him for a great right hook, there was nothing I had to say to him.
Comtesse de Vos? And they will both confirm you were here?
If she had taken a moment to notice anything besides herself, she will tell you I was here the whole time.
I think that is all for now. Merci for your time. Bonsoir, Monsieur Beckers. Merci for speaking with me.
Monsieur Poirot, or should it be Detective Poirot now?
Detective Poirot is perfect, merci. I would like to begin with a few questions.
Go right ahead, Detective Poirot. I took great pleasure in seeing the Major's ego as well as his face take a bruising, and then I made my way to the library.
Well, you spoke with Mademoiselle Conrad.
And yourself? Yes.
We were the only two that you spoke with.
One of the servants bought me a drink and I was telling her about the benefits of joining a union. She didn't understand what it truly meant to be a part of something. Something bigger than just her. I was trying to explain to her how...
Monsieur.
Oh, yes, it was just the two of you and the servant.
And you are sure there was no one else present?
I'm not sure what you're getting at, Detective. You were there.
Merci, Monsieur Beckers. It has been a most enlightening conversation. Monsieur de Silva, merci for obliging me.
A detective comes to a party and a dead body shows up. Coincidental, don't you think?
A man's death is not a matter to joke on, monsieur.
Who said anything about a joke? I am saying what I see.
Then perhaps you can tell me what it was you saw this evening.
Following whatever that was in the hall, I moved to the library.
Is there anyone that can confirm that?
Miss Conrad and Beckers were in there, arguing about something. The books held my interest far more than their conversation.
You did not speak with them until dinner was served?
I had no reason to get involved with their little spat. It was clear they didn't want me to hear, and that suited me just fine.
Merci for your cooperation. Monsieur Demir, I am sorry your celebrations have taken a rather dark turn.
As am I, Detective. I hope we will be able to bring this investigation to an end post-haste.
With your cooperation, I will do my very best.
I was here in the salon. I thought I would have a moment of peace to calm myself, but the Comtesse and my brother followed behind.
Did they inquire into the reasons behind the fight in the hall?
I think they both saw it as some light entertainment, more than anything else.
The Countess does not strike me as one to enjoy violence.
Not so much violence, but karma for the Major, perhaps. You did not hear how he spoke to my wife-to-be. She is still rather upset about the whole thing.
If you would be so kind as to stay here, I may require your help further. Countess, I am sorry our next conversation must be under such formal circumstances.
It is not the first time Felix has ruined a good party.
The current state of tonight's celebrations is the least of my priorities, Countess.
Well, it's at the top of mine, Detective. I did not come here for a wake.
Perhaps then we should proceed with my questions and you can get back to celebrating.
It would be my pleasure, chérie. I did. I thought by staying in one place, it would be easy for the staff to bring me my drinks. How wrong I was.
And who else was present in here?
The handsome groom-to-be and his brother, although Zachariah, is it, made a rather sharp exit at one stage.
Did he say where he was going?
He barely said 2 words to either of us. I think he was more concerned with his drink.
Merci, Countess. If I have any further questions, I shall be sure to come and find you. Mademoiselle Conrad, I am sure you understand the delicate nature of the situation.
I knew I had seen your face before. You were just an officer when that story hit the paper.
You have a très bon memory, mademoiselle. That was a long time ago.
You can't escape the past, especially when you go and do something like that.
That is very true, but one can learn from it and create a better future.
What would you say to an
Please, mademoiselle. Catching the Major's killer is my sole concern right now. Now, if you would be so kind, I have some questions for you.
I arrived, unpacked my bags in my room, and made it downstairs just in time to see the Major take a right hook from Gideon. And then I went to check out the library.
And you were joined by Monsieur Beckers.
And Ernesto, or Monsieur Silver, as you say. But after he ignored my attempt at pleasantries, I left him to his book in the corner.
And your conversation with Monsieur Beckers that I interrupted.
You are a persistent one, aren't you? Makes sense now I know who you really are. You'll just have to wait and read about it in the paper like everyone else.
You have been most helpful. I request you do not go too far. Merci. Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius. What a revelation! I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together. Come, my little grey cells. We must think logically. Another success. I never doubted myself. Magnifique.
I'm an open book, Poirot. I told you already. I was here in the salon.
And you did not leave even once.
Well, I had to use the bathroom. I didn't realize I had to update you every time nature called.
You may keep your calls of nature to yourself, merci. And then you returned to the salon.
If you don't believe me, ask Archibald. He saw me on his way up to the study.
I think that is all for now. Merci for your time.
Whatever you require, detective. I know you are probably used to dealing with criminals, but not everyone is trying to hide something.
I hope for your sake that you do not hide anything from me.
What is it you think I'm hiding?
I struggle to believe you did not know of Monsieur da Silva's presence in the library.
Is that what this is about? I saw him hiding in the corner, pretending to read. I'd be surprised if he even could. I did not speak to him, and he certainly didn't make any attempt to speak with me.
Monsieur Demire invited you here to speak with him. You didn't see that as a fitting time too?
I was speaking with Jacqueline, and quite frankly, I was in no mood to be dealing with that man.
Merci, Monsieur Beckers. It has been a most enlightening conversation. Can you confirm seeing Monsieur Demire in the hall this evening?
Zachariah, yes. I was on my way with a bottle of whiskey to the Major. He shouted a rather ignorable greeting to me and asked for directions to the bathroom.
I presume you showed him the way?
Aye, detective. I showed him to the hall bathroom. I didn't think it was wise to attempt the stairs, not in that state.
Things are beginning to become clearer. I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction. What a revelation! Magnifique!
I'm an open book, Poirot. Why would I? I've got nothing to say to him, except maybe to keep his hands off what is ours.
What is yours that he could want?
Money, of course. Why do you think he has been suckling at the Van den Bosch teat for so long? He's bled them dry, and now they will all do the same to our money.
Our?
My father's, Gideon's, it's all the same. When you have not been on level playing fields for years, it's hard to have a fair game.
I am afraid I do not quite understand.
If we're playing golf, he has a full set of clubs and a caddy in the form of my father, and I have the old split putter. Make sense now?
Perfectly. I think that is all for now. Merci for your time.
Whatever you require, Detective. I know that I don't think, or didn't think, a great deal of him. I'm just sorry I didn't get the chance to tell him what I thought.
The man has recently been murdered.
Someone must stand up to men like him, with their crooked dealings and lack of, well, any compassion at all.
Another rousing speech, monsieur.
It's the truth. If you knew what I know, maybe he wouldn't be dead, but behind bars instead. Yes, Gideon invited me. If you will recall from our previous conversation, we have been working together and he thought now would be a good time to discuss matters.
To discuss business at the celebration of his engagement?
We're all here, so what better time? He thought Da Silva might even let his guard down, if he was in a more jubilant mood. It would be wise to not continue to ignore us any longer.
And what business was it that was so urgent?
We're trying to resolve the worker strikes. It has gone on long enough. Now is the time for him to listen to our demands so we can put an end to it all. Put the violence and upset behind us. Anger, yes, but that's all. I wouldn't kill a man.
You must see why this leads me to have suspicions.
You can't honestly think I did it. I am a man of peace. I make changes with words, not with violence. I am fighting for the basic rights of our workers, nothing more. If he can't see that, he is a lesser man than I already thought.
And where does Monsieur Gideon fit into the negotiations? And his brother?
His brother? I didn't even know he had a brother until I arrived here. Gideon certainly hasn't talked much about him. I get the sense there's not much love lost between them. Last I saw, he was outside having a cigar.
Oui, I spoke with him myself, but that was some time ago.
He does love a cigar. You'd have to stand out in those conditions. I could barely see him through the snow.
Merci, Monsieur Beckers. It has been a most enlightening conversation.
More questions? I suppose so. Felix, I didn't know him that well. We spoke a handful of times. I met him through Cassandra. I thought him to be rather pompous.
But you remained polite, as any gentleman would.
Of course. What is there to say? She's a remarkable woman, and I admire her. Even after Edwin's death, she held herself with such poise.
It sounds as though you hold her in the highest regard.
And why shouldn't I? Women these days could take a leaf out of her book on how to present themselves. He had approached me about doing some business together. I like to know who I'm getting into bed with first.
And you both went ahead with your business venture.
Not so much a business venture, more security related. But there is no need to discuss that any further.
Is there something you wish to remain hidden about your partnership, monsieur?
It was far from a partnership. I hired him to run security at my factories. If the workers were going to get violent, I wanted to make sure I was ready to protect my property. That is correct.
And the reason for your support was always of a purely platonic nature.
If you're trying to insinuate that I was expecting something in return, you can remove your head from the gutter.
I meant no offense. I am only trying to understand the dynamic of your relationship. Merci for your cooperation.
No trouble at all. How can I help? I knew of him more than actually knowing him myself. In the past, he made his feelings towards my brother and I quite clear.
And that was not in a positive way.
I certainly wouldn't call trying to get Angeline to postpone the engagement positive. What do you mean?
I do not mean to pry, only I imagine the whole room was aware of his celebrating with a bottle.
You must be mistaken. Neither my brother nor I drink. We aren't the closest, but what brothers are?
I would argue that many are.
We've lived very different lives. Our priorities are different. He does not see things the way I do. There isn't much more to say. I have lent my voice to some discussions. I have tried to facilitate meetings. Just positive support.
Does that positive support include sending letters to those on the opposing side?
Detective Poirot, I'm not sure what you think I have done.
Monsieur, a letter has been found threatening the Major of what might happen if he does not act promptly, and now he has wound up dead.
You think my sending him a letter, warning him not to get involved, means I murdered him?
At this time, it is certainly reason for me to be suspicious.
I have been funding the strikes, Detective. These men deserve fair treatment, and a wage that fits the hard work they undertake every single day. The Major didn't see that. All he cared about was the money for his services, and that is all I care to discuss.
If you would be so kind as to stay here, I may require your help further.
I am all yours, detective. Why would I actively choose to speak to that wretched man?
You were quite adamant of your protection of Madame. If he was as awful as you portrayed him to be, there must have been some words spoken, or perhaps written?
He was quite aware of how I felt towards him and the lengths he has gone to remain close to the family. That is all that needs to be said.
I must admit, I would not want to be on the receiving end of your tongue's wrath, Countess.
Wise thinking, detective. I imagine she will have shed a tear for him, but she should not waste any more.
You don't think she would? Or you don't want her to?
I have made it quite clear what I think of that man, alive or dead. I would not want her to waste anything further on him. What of it?
Do you believe there was something more to their friendship?
As I have said, detective, I am not one to gossip.
I would not even consider your name and that word in the same sentence.
Because it is not gossip when it's the truth. Why else do you think he would stay around for so long? Yes, he was a friend and partner to the Viscount, but it is plain to see it is Cassandra's partnership he longs for. He was a disgusting leech that was driven only by money and power, like most men.
I can assure you not all men are concerned with such egotistical wealth.
That may be, but they are few and far between. I believe you are a special case, Detective Poirot.
It is not the first time I have been described in such a way.
Embrace the compliment, Detective. You have set yourself apart from the horrid crétins that seem to somehow make their way into positions of authority and power.
And that is what the Major was doing? Using Madame Van den Bosch as his ladder to the top?
You are finally seeing the man he was. A weak and self-indulgent social climber.
Merci, Countess. If I have any further questions, I shall be sure to come and find you.
You came to the right place. What do you need? I know that he was not the good and honest man he liked to think he was.
In what sense?
If you spoke to him for longer than 5 minutes, you'd know. I've met people in dark alleys I trust before him.
And on the occasions when you did speak with him, what was discussed?
I'm sorry, Poirot. If you're looking for a deep-seated secret between me and him, you're going to be disappointed. That man has got some real anger issues. I get why he's frustrated. He's trying his best for the workers, but holding on to rage like that, something's gonna burst. If you think you can use me as some sort of gossip machine, you are sorely mistaken.
I can assure you it is not a case of gossiping. At this point, everything may be relevant to my investigation.
So I would be helping you potentially solve a crime? You should have said that off the bat. To say he's smitten is an understatement. I reckon he's been wanting her for years.
I see. Madame does not feel the same?
Doesn't look like it. If she did, she would have said something about it, right? I don't know if you really would. She's got a mouth the size of Texas, except when it comes to truths about her. She wants everyone to think that she's the savior of these girls at the shelter. But there's a side to her I don't think anyone gets to see.
And what side is that?
One that she is keeping tucked away under her very expensive dress.
You have been most helpful. I request you do not go too far. Merci.
I'm an open book, Poirot. That doesn't surprise me, and yet no one actually asks.
I am asking now.
I should have expected that, shouldn't I? What is there to say? We used to be close, but not so much anymore.
I would find it very helpful if you could at least elaborate on your relationship.
He went to school, got an education, and was the apple of our father's eye. I went to war. See the difference now. If you want to know about Gideon's part in the Union, why don't you ask him?
So, you are aware of his support for them?
Yes, well, he...
Oui, monsieur?
It'd be best to just ask him.
I think that is all for now. Merci for your time.
No trouble at all. How can I help? I believe there are more important matters at hand than talking about my brother and I's relationship, or lack thereof.
The murderer is in his house, and by holding back information that may help my investigation, you only make me suspicious of your involvement. Monsieur Demir, if you continue to withhold information, I can only assume you are hiding something, and must treat you as a prime suspect in the Major's murder.
I have nothing to hide. If you must know, we have not been on the best terms for years now. As I said, we are different people. He does not see the importance of planning for the future, and as much as my parents tried, we could not make him see that. I suppose that is why he sees me as their favorite.
He still believes that now?
I assume so. We barely talk anymore. I was hoping we would be able to sit down and talk and leave the past behind. But this evening has not panned out that way.
If you would be so kind as to stay here, I may require your help further.
I am all yours, detective.
Countess, you gave me the impression the Major and the Madame were close, but there were times where he acted rather aggressively to her, n'est-ce pas?
I am sorry, detective, but I did not mean to give you such an impression. Ever the charmer, detective. I would talk more on it, but I'm afraid Cassandra would think I am talking about her behind her back. It is not often I am swayed so easily. I applaud you on your willingness and persistence. From day one, I was wary of his intentions. And it was not long before he showed his true colors. If it is a tear she sheds, it should be one of joy that he is out of her life.
I understand your feelings towards the Major, but perhaps there was...
He was a bully. He took his shortcomings out on her, and she sat there and accepted it. I never thought I would see the day. Perhaps now she will be able to see the man he truly was. Karma will always catch up to you.
Merci, Countess. If I have any further questions, I shall be sure to come and find you. Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius. Things are beginning to become clearer. Another success. I never doubted myself. I cannot see the logic in this. Perhaps a second look at the evidence in front of me. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
More questions? I suppose so.
Mademoiselle Conrad was quick to talk of your hidden feelings towards her. Perhaps only hidden to Madame van den Bosch herself.
What has this got to do with the Major's death? Does Cassandra know you have spoken to others about this? I have only tried to help her. There may be some feelings there, but Madame van den Bosch does not know of them, and I trust that it will remain that way.
Merci for your cooperation. My time with the guests is complete, for tonight at least.
Do you know who killed Major Hagen?
I am afraid it is not as simple as that. There are many steps that lead to the truth. I must think on everything I have heard this evening and dissect the truths from the lies. Merci for your assistance this evening. Au revoir. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together. Magnifique. What a revelation! Things are beginning to become clearer. Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius. Entrez.
Detective, I'm sorry I did not join you in the salon as requested.
Please, mademoiselle, there is no need to apologize.
I was with Maman in her room. She would not allow anyone to see it, but I could see she was terribly upset.
Most understandable.
Do you have any suspicions as to who could have killed him?
I'm afraid my suspicions extended across all of the party's guests. While it seems as though their alibis all corroborate one another's, the disdain and hostility towards the Major makes them rife with motive.
I know there was some bad blood between the Major and some of the guests, but not enough to kill him, surely. She may seem tough on the exterior, but she's really quite kind when you get to know her.
The Countess? She is a formidable force I would not want to come up against.
Don't be silly, Detective. She wouldn't hurt a soul. Jacqueline, I mean. I assume that's who you were talking about, Detective, after what happened between them.
That is a story I have yet to hear.
She must have told you about the piece she was writing on us, about Gideon's work and our marriage.
Somehow that was the only thing she did not mention.
That's strange. I thought that is what she would have started the conversation with. Well, she had come to the house to interview me, and when I entered the library, she was there with Felix amid a rather heated conversation.
Do you know what this conversation regarded?
I'm afraid not, but Felix was quite enraged. He picked up an envelope from the table and stormed out, slamming the door behind him.
And Mademoiselle Conrad?
She was equally heated in the moment. She had a few choice words for him that I wouldn't care to repeat. Better, thank you, Detective. She's resting in her room. It is the best place for her.
And you, Mademoiselle?
I'm not quite sure. It is a rather surreal feeling. I did not think I would miss him like I do.
It is understandable. He has been a close friend to your maman for many years.
And to me, Detective. We had grown close. After Father's passing, he was always there for me. And now, he's gone as well.
You must try and not think on it like that.
It is easier said than done, Detective.
I have no doubt, but you can be assured the culprit will not remain at large for long. You have my word.
I'm sorry, but I just can't imagine any of them committing such a heinous crime.
It can often be hard to look past one's personal feelings for someone and see their flaws.
It's not that, Detective. It's just they have known each other for years. Why would any of them act now?
I was under the impression the Major had merely a business relationship with some of the guests.
That's true, but those invited know each other, some of them for years. They may not seem like it, but some are even friends. I should return to my room now, Detective. It has been a trying day for us all.
Oui, mademoiselle. I am afraid tomorrow may bear a resemblance, but I will not stop until I have found his killer.
I am certainly glad you are here, Detective.
When and where a detective is required, that is where I shall be. Bonne nuit, mademoiselle. I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction. Another success. I never doubted myself. The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together. Another success. I never doubted myself.